I'm pretty sure you and I know the history of Vegas. Some people may not, so let me give you the quick Cliff Notes history. Vegas was once a desert in the middle of nowhere in the state of Nevada. A millionaire bought the land. Then the millionaire built housing communities on the land. These houses had poor plumbing, poor electricity. They weren't near a food source, so they moved out. Nobody was living in them. So the millionaire, who still owned the land, plowed that shit down and opened up the first casinos. And in Vegas today, there's a plaque. When you enter Vegas, you could even Google search it. It's a historical marker marking where Vegas used to be before they moved it. So it does recognize that there was the Las Vegas 1, and then now this is Las Vegas 2 we're talking about. So Las Vegas 2 opens. And when Las Vegas 2 opens, you have some of the more popular of the time. We're talking about, what, this is the 50s now? The Flamingo, Golden Nugget, for example, popular casinos. Golden Nugget, that had a diverse group of people working there, black and white people working together, while the Flamingo had a segregated group of people. So you had the white people entering from the front, the black people entering from the back. Once again, this is in the 1950s. Segregation was still a thing even in Las Vegas. Unfortunately. The Golden Nugget, though, was really the first inclusive casino in Vegas history. So, who was running these casinos? You may ask. The Mafia. So, Joan Rivers, Don Rickles, before they died, they both agreed that the Mafia ran Vegas better than how it currently was being run and is during our current day, because the slot machines are rigged. Nobody can win them. If you won a slot machine fairly, when the Mafia was running it and you felt like you were short, you went up to the cash register, they would call the mob boss over, you would get your fair money the slot machine said you won. So, the Mafia ran it quite fairly. The state of Nevada does not. But you had great food, always, from the 50s through the 80s, when the Mafia was overthrown, then from the 80s through, unfortunately today, where Las Vegas is becoming vegan. This makes no sense to me. Vegas has always been known for their buffets. For their buffets. That's what Vegas is known for, their buffets when it comes to food. People don't go to Vegas to gamble and to get salads. Who goes to Vegas and says, honey, I'm going to get a salad for lunch. Do you want some salad? No one does that. You know, people go to Vegas and say, hey, honey, I'm going to get some prime rib. Do you want any? That's what happens. Nobody goes to Vegas for salad. I haven't been to Vegas yet. And pretty soon they're probably going to be all vegan. With maybe the meat places outside of Vegas. Which I'll probably be spending most of my time eating there. Because, don't get me wrong. Look, I like vegans as people. I think a lot of vegans are rational. But there are that small but loud minority of vegans that are batshit crazy and make the rest look bad. But I can make a prediction, and if you're wondering, what does the Las Vegas salad taste like? Like almost every goddamn salad you had anywhere else. If you had a McDonald's salad for lunch today, that's probably what it tastes like in Las Vegas. Lettuce is lettuce. Lettuce tastes like lettuce. Tomatoes are tomatoes. Tomatoes taste like tomatoes. Cucumbers taste like cucumbers unless you pickle them, but cucumbers taste like cucumbers. Pickles taste like pickles. Croutons are croutons. Nothing different. You don't get anything different from a Vegas salad than you would a McDonald's or a homemade salad you make at home already. So, what's the point of going to Vegas now if they're getting rid of all the meat eaters places like the buffets that Vegas is known for? Because when you go to Vegas or any casino place, you expect there to be good food as a comfort. You could have lost a shit ton of money playing poker or blackjack or slot machines, but at least there's good food to prevent you from crying. But while we're on the topic of places where people go, guys, we gotta talk about this. We need to have a discussion about this. Urinals. Some guys get the message as soon as they enter the door. Some guys don't get the message. For the guys who don't get the message about the urinals, let me explain. There's an unspoken rule about urinals. It doesn't have to be on the door, but we might as well put it on every single men's room door from this point on. If you go to a place that has two urinals, one small one and one big one, if the guy is using the small or big one, you use the stall to take a piss. Because you leave a space between you and the other guy. Now, if there's 10 urinals, and if the guy's at the first one, you don't use the one next to him, you use the one that's the third from where he is. He's at the first one, second is empty, you the third. And it's the same thing. You're at the third, the fourth one's empty, and the fifth one some other guy uses. Unless you're at a sports game where you have to be next to a guy while taking a piss, you never make eye contact. And never start a conversation either. The worst experience a guy could have at a urinal is he goes inside to take a piss, and some guy gets next to him and says, "How's your day going?" That's the worst experience a guy can have at a urinal. Because you want to pee and get back to what you're doing. You don't want to start a conversation with the guy who asked how your day was right next to you at the urinal. So there's an unspoken rule for guys that don't get the message. So, I don't get out that much. Shocker, I know, but no, I don't get out that much. But when I do, I like to do things that interest me. Whether it's music events, theater, plays, whether it be art shows, whatever. I like to do stuff I'm interested in. I don't like to do stuff that other people find fun because to me it's boring. For example, going to clubs. That's a no on my list. I would say it was a yes during the 70s if I was alive then because they ran dance clubs reasonably well in the 70s. You had the music, the dancing, and all that for, let's say, 30 minutes, right? And then the music stopped, or if it didn't stop, it was put on a low volume so people could have a conversation after all that dancing so people could relax, right? But no.
Blast the music.
Is the motto of all these dance clubs now. So therefore, you're not enjoying yourself, you're screaming over each other, and by the time you leave these modern day dance clubs, your ears are bleeding. You think you're hearing Ghost of Christmas Past telling you to walk in front of the street when there's a green light. You're not sure if the person cuffing you is a cop or a fantasy being played out. So dance clubs are a no to me. Another thing that's a no to me, and I know it's an artsy thing, but this one's a no to me. Avant-garde music festivals. No. Don't get me wrong. I don't think avant-garde music is bad, but it has to be done the right way. Like, avant-garde is something that is unique and a bit different from, let's say, a typical musician or singer typical work you listen to. For example, I actually listened to one of my albums not that long ago, yesterday to be honest. It's a very avant-garde for ABBA to do the album called The Visitors, which came out in '82 prior to their split up. And it was just unique and different, and I enjoy the album. It's weird, but I enjoy the album. It's very avant-garde, but I like it. Right? That avant-garde I could take. That's real avant-garde, but there's this form of avant-garde started by Yoko Ono. I'm sorry, it's not music. It's just stuff I can make on my electric piano. That's not avant-garde. I'm sorry, it isn't. That's just noises. So avant-garde music festivals are a no to me, because it's not music. What I like to do, if not every day, every once in a while, is go to the library and pick out a book or audiobook, because I like to educate myself on things that I was not taught in school. I found that interesting. They say you have to go to school to get an education, but what they teach you, they leave out a lot of things when it comes to history. Like, I didn't learn about the Japanese internment camps until I watched George Carlin's It's Bad For Ya comedy special in 2012. I didn't learn about the Japanese internment camps until then. Not once in my entire school life was I ever taught that. It was left out. And it's a shame, because another thing that was left out was the incredible life of Winston Churchill. This guy had an amazing life. Was he backwards in his philosophy on women in general? Yeah. Do I agree with his sexism? No. And yes, Winston Churchill, as much as a smart man he was a sexist, you got to admit it. But he saved the world from an axis of darkness. That I was taught, but I wasn't taught the incredible legacy he had, not only as the Prime Minister, but as a person of war, and a person who goddamn survived escaping as a prisoner of war. I learned that on Mysteries at the Museum. I learned that on TV. And the funny thing is, I was told by a doctor a long time ago, I shouldn't watch TV because it will rot my brain. A lot of the stuff I watched on TV was educational, really. I like to watch Mythbusters. That got me to engage and love science. And I love science. And I like to engage with it when I read about it. But am I a scientist? No. I can't say I am. At one time I wanted to, but I probably would have never got there because I'm not that great at math. And being good at math is a key to being a good scientist. So I'm not great at math, so out that window went. And music entered my life at the age of 7. And I still stick with it to this very day. And I found out through the years that the arts are really the place where I belong. But although I love science, although I can't be a scientist either, I love to watch Mythbusters. I still like to watch the old episodes. And I like to watch Mysteries at the Museum when it's on TV. Because I learned things about history that I was never taught in school, not even world history. To me, that's a shame. But yeah, that's why I like to go to the library. I like to further my education on stuff I was not taught in school. I was not taught a lot of things in school that I learned at the library. And that's the beauty of a library. And it's a shame not a lot of millennials use the library. They don't utilize their public library. Look, if you don't want to read books, fine, they have music there, they have movies. Listen to music or watch films you haven't seen before. Expand your knowledge on media. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, you don't need to read a book to utilize a library, even though that's its primary use. But there's music there. Look, if you're a guy or gal who listens to metal or punk, try listening to something that's folk or country. The genres that inspired punk and metal. Or listen to early rock and roll that inspired the genres that would lead up to punk and metal. Or listen to opera, the form of theater that gave us modern day Broadway. You know, there's a great reason to use your public libraries. Yeah, that's what I like to do. And when I tell people that, they either have this reaction. First one, you're boring. Or 2, you know what? I'm glad to see someone use the public library for once. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. See you next time.